Hi there everybody, my name's Jen and I'm a professional singer and vocal teacher, and I'm going to share with you today 5 tips on how to improve your vocals after vocal damage. So vocal problems are very close to my heart. I went to the doctor and he diagnosed me with vocal cord paralysis. So I went for voice therapy for about 18 months and it worked, it helped, it improved my voice and I was able to carry on singing, which was good. But I just felt at that time that I needed to know a little bit more about vocals in order to get myself healing and get in a better place. So here I am today, a few years on. I feel I can share the knowledge and experience that I've had over the years with you all. So first things first, if you are experiencing any problems and you haven't been to the doctor yet, then I advise you to do that. They'll be able to tell you what's really going on without trying to guess. I know it's daunting as a singer, we don't want to hear bad news, but it's really important that you do that. So if you've been to the doctor like me and you know what's going on inside and all you're trying to do now is improve the range, you know, the quality of your voice and the strength of your voice, then keep watching and I will share with you some tips. Step number 1, hydration. Water fills the muscles, plumps them out, gets them working much better than they would without water. Even if you're drinking alcohol, have the water as well. It's going to get to the muscles a lot more effectively than any alcohol will. So you're going to be doing yourself a favour if you drink water as well as have a drink. Have a couple of glasses of body temperature water just before you're about to sing. I tend to avoid icy cold drinks because it's just too much. It tends to spasm the vocal cords and it's just a little bit too cool for them. Step number 2, warming up. Now, if you're serious about singing, this is an absolute no-brainer. Muscles in your vocal cords work like any other muscle in your body and they need time to warm up. Spend at least 5 minutes. I would say 5 is the absolute least. If you can do more, if you've got time to do more, then do so, but at least 5 minutes warming up. I tend to do a low register hum, something like this. So it's similar to what you do in a meditation, for instance, and that's allowing your vocal cords to use the largest surface area to vibrate against each other, warm up the surfaces, almost bed into each other so they're ready to oscillate in unison. Steady, sustained hums will prevent the vocal cords from damage, so you're not bashing them together and causing friction and you know, causing irritation and lesions, that kind of thing. So steady, smooth sounds all the time for about 5 minutes. As you start to get heat into your vocal cords, you can start changing the sound, so you can start moving to a siren sound, for instance. So that's more like a but again, don't push it. You don't need to go really high, you don't really need to go really low. Just stay within your range, your comfortable range, just whilst your vocal cords are still warming up, and then you can move on to the next tip. My next tip is to work on vocal cord connection. So this is something that I tend to do for a short while just before I'm about to sing, but also when I'm not singing in the week, just as a little exercise. It doesn't take a huge amount of time because it's very effective, but yeah, this is something I've developed over the years and I find really useful. So I did do a video about warming up a tired voice, and I did talk a little bit about how my vocal cords are quite misaligned. So because of the you know, the paralysis and the tension that I find in my right vocal cord, I find that my cords sit a slightly little bit misaligned, like so. And so when it comes to trying to get them to vibrate together, they find it really difficult because the greatest surface area isn't in contact. I do actually think this has a lot to do with my brace. I don't know if you can see, I've got a brace on at the moment. So before I had my brace, my teeth didn't sit straight. My jaw was tilted the whole time, which made the muscles in my throat quite, you know, one side was tighter than the other, and I do think that's had a lot to do with my vocal cord problems, actually, the way my teeth have been lined up. Lining up the vocal cords is possible. You just need to pay a little bit of attention to it. This is what I do specifically to get those vocal cords, the muscles in my right hand side relaxing so my vocal cords line up. I find holding my voice box down whilst I'm doing this exercise helps to stretch out the muscles in this side of my neck. Sticking out your tongue is really useful because your tongue is a very strong muscle itself, and it's actually connected to the voice box. So by extending it, you're elongating the muscles that are connected to your tongue. Next, I push the tiniest amount of air through my vocal cords. So as you can see, it's a very subtle exercise. There's very little to it, and it's not easy to achieve. It's almost like getting your vocal cords to move with the smallest amount of air and, you know, work in unison to make the sound. But even after just doing that for a few seconds just to demonstrate, my voice feels clearer. I feel like my vocal cords are connecting better. I can feel that this muscle, this big fat muscle here, is just starting to relax. So I tend to do that for a couple of minutes at the most. When I first started doing that exercise, my throat would gag, would splutter, it would be awkward, and that was kind of like the signal to stop doing it. It's not a kind of exercise that you want to overdo. Overdoing anything when you've got vocal damage is going to just you know, weaken your throat. So you have to be very gentle and make sure that you listen to your body. If it starts to feel tired, if you start to cough, leave it for a day, leave it for a few hours, come back to it. Try again for a few minutes, but never force it. Never overblow as well, because you don't want a situation where your vocal cords are smacking together. Think about that. Think about your vocal cords are two moving entities. They're two moving entities, and if you bring them together whilst they're moving, you're going to be scratching the surfaces of the vocal cord. So be careful not to blow too much air, forcing the vocal cords together and smacking the walls and causing friction and causing you know, damage that way. If you feel any form of pain or discomfort, please stop. These are very delicate muscles in your body and they need to be treated carefully. Okay, step number 4, improving acid reflux. Now, I know what you're saying. I bet you're saying you don't have acid reflux. I've never had acid reflux, but I can bet if you're a singer and you're using your diaphragm properly, you have some form of acid reflux. When the diaphragm is in use, it disturbs the stomach, which churns up the gastric juices and pushes them out of the stomach and back up into the esophagus. Another way that gastric juices can end up in the esophagus is if you don't have a huge amount of gastric juice. It's something that actually deteriorates as we get older. The esophagus sphincter, which is the valve that holds all of the juices in the stomach, that becomes a bit lazy. It doesn't have a job to do, so it doesn't hold down the gastric juices as it once did. The gastric juices climb up the esophagus and reach the vocal cords. They stick to the back of the vocal cords and they burn them, and they cause irritation. Not only that, the acid reflux will dampen down the sound that your vocal cords is trying to make. So we're trying to get resonance in the vocal cords, get them ringing almost. We want them to ring. So when they have some kind of substance stuck to them, they can't ring as well, which will make the sound of your voice less clear, and it will actually be harder to hit those notes that you're trying to achieve. So it's definitely worth looking into acid reflux, looking at your eating patterns. Are you eating very late at night? Are you going down to are you lying down after eating? Because again, this is a way that the stomach acids can start creeping up into the esophagus. I use natural remedies like apple cider vinegar and lemon juice or fresh ginger, ground up fresh ginger. They're really good just before food in a little bit of water, about 15 minutes before you're about to eat a meal, just to try and get the gastric juices working. These natural remedies do sound acidic, but actually they work as an alkalizing compound when they reach the body. So don't be afraid to use acidic natural remedies to help improve the condition of your acid reflux. We want to produce acid in our stomach. That is the thing that breaks down our food. It actually disinfects our food as well, and it breaks down all the nutrients, so they're all ready when it gets to the intestine, it's all ready to be absorbed back into our body. So I personally avoid using antacids, the ones that you can buy from the chemist. They neutralize the acid in your stomach, which makes it harder for your body to digest the nutrients that you're eating. It makes the esophagus valve lazy, and the gastric juices will start to creep up the esophagus, and it'll get to the vocal cords. They also contain good bacteria which help in the digestion of food. I also take a bottle of lemon juice and water diluted to most of my gigs, and that's the thing I drink when I'm on stage, and I find that really helps keep my throat clear. I don't feel the need to keep clearing my throat, which is another way that you can damage your vocal cords. Another way to avoid acid reflux is to avoid eating dairy products. They are quite mucus forming. Again, mucus can find itself on the back of the vocal cords and dampen down the sound, dampen down the resonance, and make it difficult for you to sing. Okay, my final tip for this video is rest and recovery. If you're a serious singer, you should be doing this already, but I'm just going to remind you, rest and recovery after singing is essential. It should be part of the routine, full stop. Don't find yourself chatting away or shouting in a loud room. You know, it's great to hear the feedback after doing a gig, but constant talking is just going to be weakening your voice and making you more tired. Same goes for smoky environments and also cold outside air. You've just been singing for a long time, and then you go into an ice cold outdoor space. This is going to, shock the muscles again. It's going to get them spasming, and they go from one temperature to the next very quickly. We want to do that in a gentle and measured way. Try humming as you're warming down, in a similar way to as you warmed up. Just very gentle. Sometimes, introducing a tiny little bit more air isn't a problem, just to get them to your muscles to just ease themselves down back to normal. I also try herbal drinks or warm soothing drinks. They really work well for me. Just keeping that heat in the vocal cords and the muscles around the vocal cords until they've had a chance to just cool down on their own accord. So there you have it. There are my 5 tips for improving your voice after vocal damage. Hope you found this video useful, and let me know if you've got any comments or questions in the section below. Let me know if you'd like any more videos on vocal health, and also don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care for now.